Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare.
Well, Grihastas have more responsibility than the devotees that are celebrants. They have to maintain a family, and they have children that have a lot of needs. So they're under a lot more pressure of maintenance of a family. If you don't have a family, you don't have all those responsibilities. But if you have children and wife and relatives and so forth, then you have a lot of responsibilities. And it's not easy to maintain all those responsibilities. Sometimes it's overwhelming and people sort of just throw their hands up in the air and say, okay, I give up. But if someone is, let's say, strong enough to maintain all those responsibilities, they are, in one sense, a hero, doing something that people appreciate. It's much easier just to live on the bank of the Ganges, not even have a house, and chant Hare Krishna. However, if the father and mother and the children are Krishna conscious, then it is not so overwhelming, because the children have been taught to live a simple life, simple living, high thinking. If you train your children like that, and you train yourself also, simple living, high thinking, then you can go through all the different steps of material life and not be overwhelmed. But if you become overwhelmed and always want more money, more cars, more houses, more money, then it's overwhelming. And you have enemies. Once there's a lot of money involved in a family, oftentimes there's arguments in the family, and there are different types of problems that arise due to jealousy and so forth. This is obviously because people are not educated properly to be genuine devotees. And it is actually sinful to have more than what you actually need. In other words, when you have more than your base, let's say, needs, and let's say you become a millionaire, it's actually sinful. We should not desire to be millionaires. We should desire to be humble devotees, and as much money that comes in our way, it should be used in the service of Krishna, not hoarded in a bank and spent on sense gratification. But very few people actually understand that. Most people think that it's a badge of their success to have millions of dollars in the bank. But actually it's a badge of their greed. And it's not really good, because one will have friends and enemies, and many jealous people, and all kinds of greedy people, and there'll be fights in the family. So It's very good to live a simple life. Simple living, high thinking. That should be our motive in our cultures. Simple living, high thinking. Then we are not going to be what you could say. Uh, we won't have many jealous people because they see that you're living in a very simple way and always engaged in Krishna consciousness. Then you have a chance to be peaceful. So, simple living, high thinking, that is our culture as devotees.
Consciousness.
Number one, no illicit sex. If you can't control your sex, there's always going to be arguing. Of course, in the beginning, someone might feel, oh, I'm very good at having sex, and my wife is happy also. But no, after that initial honeymoon is over, then you suddenly realize, wait a minute, how did I get into this situation? No, it's not a good thing to be oversexed. It's a good thing to control sex. And wasting semen will diminish the number of years you're going to live. Conserving the semen and learning how to raise it through your body to your head means you're going to live a lot longer. Now, how do you do that? Well, you can do it by some type of mystical yoga system, or you can just simply do it by being celibate. Now, someone who has sex only to have children, and then the rest of their life raise the children, and let that be the end of sex. Then one has a peaceful life. They raise their children, and now they're free to have more time for Krishna consciousness. Right? And you have cars, and you have so many responsibilities, and millions of dollars, and you don't have time for Krishna consciousness. That is not the sign of success. That is the sign of being a prisoner of Maya. So Maya, once you become a prisoner of Maya, it's almost impossible to get away from it. She is very, very adamant to hold you and keep you always in anxiety and always overwhelmed with responsibilities, unnecessary responsibilities. So we have to become in the association of genuine devotees. And before we get married, before we accept so many responsibilities, hear from genuine devotees what is the right way to organize one's life. Then you won't make all those mistakes that happen when you don't have good teaching, and you'll be much happier and much more peaceful.
So Krishna
Respect each other. That's very important. We should not think that I own this person. We don't own anything. The only thing we should do as a husband is to protect one's wife and one's children. And always be very kind and gentle with the family members. Never get into arguments or violence or jealousy or anything like that. Whenever you get angry, you should sit down and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. and keep chanting until that anger goes away. That should be our culture. The best way to control anger is to sit down and chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra until it goes away. Who's going to do that? I do that. Yeah, you do that. Yeah. Yeah, but that's the way to control anger. You don't control anger by taking some type of medicine or things like that. You control it by sitting down somewhere peaceful and chant Hare Krishna as long as it takes for that anger to dissipate and go away. If people only did that, learned to do that, the world would be a better place. Therefore, this chanting Hare Krishna is very important. If we want to have a peaceful and happy life, we have to learn how to chant every day 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And when there are problems, we should increase the number of rounds to not become overwhelmed by anger, lust, greed, etc. All these bad qualities develop by not being Krishna conscious. But if we follow Krishna consciousness sincerely and seriously, we have a what you would call a possibility to control anger, lust, greed, and so forth. It's just chanting, sitting down and chanting Hare Krishna until those negative qualities subside and we do not do crazy things. So these are the three doors of hell: lust, anger, and greed. So we have to be able to control these things by chanting Hare Krishna. That is the panacea for all these problems. Regular chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And don't stop chanting until your foibles and anger or confusion or fear goes away. And it'll go away if you keep chanting. Hare Krishna. And she should serve the husband with love and devotion. And the husband should serve the wife with love and devotion. Then you have a happy family. But it depends on being Krishna conscious and having love and devotion for Krishna. So, if both husband and wife have love and devotion for Krishna, that is better than not having love and devotion for Krishna, but trying to have love and devotion for each other. You see, if you have love and devotion for Krishna, both husband and wife, then it's not going to be a problem. If each tries to have love and devotion for each other, there's going to be a problem eventually, because eventually you won't be always able to control your mind and your senses, and you can get into arguments and so forth. But if you have love and devotion for Krishna, then you can control your mind and your senses. And Krishna will help you also. So this is the problem in life. You know, a lot of people think, I know what I'm doing without Krishna. No. You could do whatever you want without Krishna. It'll be a failure. But if Krishna is your main, let's say, purpose in life, to please the Lord by being dedicated to serving the Lord, then all your problems will go away. But if you think, well, I don't need that. That's old-fashioned. This is modern life. We don't need God. We can. We make skyscrapers, and we have nice cars, and we have airplanes, and we have a lot of money, and have this and have that. We don't need God. That is ignorance, big time ignorance.
Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare